In the letter to the Corinthians, in First Corinthians, the Apostle Paul explains and describes what love is, and that's in chapter 13. And we'll look at some of that later this week. But today I wanted to look at a verse from First Corinthians chapter 10. Specifically, we're going to look at verse 24. And this is just a really simple little statement, which is what love actually looks like in action. He starts out in the verse before that, in verse 23, he says that, all things are lawful, but they're not all expedient. They're not all profitable or helpful. And so just because it's okay, I can do this, doesn't mean that I should. And he gives this principle of what we're to think like. And this relates to where he tells us to let this mind which was in Christ Jesus to be in us. This is related to that, and that's in Philippians. We are to let the same mind, we're to have the same mind. In fact, we're growing up to be like Jesus. And so here in verse 24, chapter 10, 1 Corinthians, he says, let no one seek his own, but each one the other's well-being. So this is also in Philippians in chapter 2, he says to esteem others better than yourself. So in this one, don't seek your own, but others. This is the nature of God. This is what he does. This is what love does. Love looks at and considers others above self-interest. James tells us in his epistle that when we have self-seeking, that there is confusion in every evil thing. And in fact, we can find that relationship problems, relation between whomever people, results from self-seeking and self-centeredness. It's putting myself first. It's seeking my own. For example, somebody is upset because in a relationship they didn't get what they wanted. They had expectations, desires, hopes from the other person, even thinking that the person was supposed to do this and that person owed them something. And when they don't get it, that's when they have hurt and anger and problems in a relationship. And in fact, when we experience these things, what we're seeking is what we want, which is whatever it is that is, in essence, benefits me. If my focus is upon the other person, as verse 24 of 1 Corinthians 10 says, what I'm going to look at is I'm not going to say, why didn't they do what I wanted? And be upset because I didn't get what I wanted, whatever it may be. And it may be something that's reasonable to desire, but my analysis and my question is less of why didn't I get what I wanted than what's happening with this person, and seeking to understand why did this person do things this way and not that way. And so when we do what he says here, where we don't seek our own, but we seek the other person's best interest, this is the same thing. This is why Jesus came and in human form, came as a man, came into our fallen, our physical human state and our delusion to rescue us, to deliver us from that which was killing us, to come into our darkness and to be able to relate to it in every way, being tempted and tested just as we are, and able to overcome and to help us to overcome. This is God considering you and saying, I want you to be with me, and I am making the way for that to happen. I am doing what is required. This is considering the other. And so when Jesus is asked what's the greatest commandment, he says it's to love God. And the second part is the same as the first. It's related, which is to love others as yourself, which is to love as you are loved. When we see this love of God, when we experience him as love in that close relationship, we also can become love, which we were created for in his likeness and image, to love others, to not seek our own, but to seek the benefit and the well-being of others. And that is so much rooted in our connection with God, because we do not know love except that we know him. And as John says, we love because he first loved us, so that we truly can seek the well-being of others over our own self interest.